Okay, thank you so much for joining us. I just have a couple quick announcements. Just a reminder that we do have several other workshops going on this weekend. So if you would like to check any of them out, you go to www.greenhopeproject.org. And then we've got a trash cleanup along the Playa Drain Trail tomorrow. So guys, if you can help them with that, please register. We do have a solar cooking workshop on Saturday as well from 9 to 9:30. We have Do You Know What to Throw Away in Your Blue Bin? That's on Saturday as well. We have an environmental justice workshop on Saturday from 11 to 12 as well. And then environmental history of Paso del Norte through a policy lens on Saturday. And then Eco El Paso is going to talk about their nonprofit or their organization on Saturday. And then on Sunday, we've got the Franklin Mountain Wilderness Coalition U and local land preservation. And so that'll be at the base of the mountain. And Judy Ackerman is going to do that. And she's got some really great information. So I hope you guys can go. That one's in person. The other ones are online. And then on Sunday, Matter Matters is going to talk about microplastics, plastic waste, Rio Grande cleanup. And on Sunday, I think the last one on Sunday is resources and how to incorporate outdoor education into the classroom. And that's going to be with the Texas State Park. So again, all of this is happening on the weekend, so it's pretty hardcore. So check it out, guys. There's a lot of stuff going on. If you are educators seeking CPE credits for this workshop that we're attending right now, please make sure when you logged in that you did use your campus, your school email so that we can coordinate that to give you the credit. We're going to be recording this and just pay extra special attention to this workshop because I'm super excited. Polina, you have no idea. And so Paulina's coming to us from the Earthship community, correct?
Yes. Yep. Taos, New Mexico.
Okay. Nice.
That's a banana tree.
Nice. Okay, so Polina is in Taos, New Mexico right now, and the title of this workshop is the Earthship Academy, appropriate. So she's talking about the Earthship Academy. And so just pay attention while this is happening because in the back of your mind, remember, we are going to have an essay contest. And so the person who wins this essay contest, Green Hope Project, is going to send that one individual to stay at the Earthship community and be a part of the academy for, I think it's like 4 weeks. She'll get into the details. And so, listen up. If this sounds like something that is for you or someone you think might be interested, we'll give you information about how to do the essay contest after she's done. So I'm going to shut up and I'm going to turn it over to Polina Fateeva and tell us all the good stuff about Earthship.
Sure, absolutely. So thank you guys all for coming, especially in the afternoon on a Friday. My name is Polina, and I'll be presenting to you about the Earthship Academy programs because we have more than just the Academy itself. There's quite a few different ways of getting involved. And I'll just give you a little bit of background. I moved here to do the November Academy in 2016. I moved from Montreal, Canada. And never left. Kind of didn't intend to stay here forever, but I ended up falling in love with another Earthship student, kind of co-student, and then we just never left and took a break from working for the company to have my son, who's 2 now, and now I'm back in the Academy department and just having a really good time. So what I'm gonna start off by doing is sharing my screen with you guys because I have a little bit of a presentation so you guys can kind of read along with me. I'm gonna start off with a little bit of Earthship principles just to make you guys aware of what makes our buildings and methods of living, what stands apart from conventional housing. So Earthship Biotecture was founded by Mike Reynolds in 1969. He moved here from originally Kentucky. He completed an architectural degree in, I believe it was in Ohio, in Cleveland. And at that time, America was facing an issue with waste production and with affordable housing for its population. So Mike Reynolds had this wacky idea of starting to build with garbage. And so that you're taking out of the landfill, you're not contributing to it, but you're also building a home. Well, everyone called him a crazy person, especially back then, and did not approve of his ideas and methods. And so he moved to the middle of nowhere in Taos, New Mexico, and started building just with whatever he could find. His original can brick was like back when the beer cans were made out of steel. And he would wire 6 of them into like a brick and use that for building. Now we've realized that we can lay it can by can, like proper masonry work. So Earthships are founded on 6 main principles: building with natural and recycled material, contained sewage treatment, water harvesting, thermal heating and cooling, off-grid energy, so solar or wind, and food production. So the first big point is building with natural and recycled materials or reclaimed materials. So we do pounded tires, as I don't know if you guys can see my mouse. Oh, I can't even see my mouse. Okay, well, you can see on the base of the photograph here that there are pounded tires, and that's our foundation. And pounded tires are pretty amazing because they're all over the world, don't biodegrade readily. But once you fill them with earth and pound them with a sledgehammer, they form a 350-pound brick that's pretty much immovable. So you want to make sure that your tire is perfectly placed before you start pounding it. And the benefit of it includes, you don't have any insect problems because there's no wood there in your foundation. There's no pockets of air for combustion. So I've never heard of a fire in an Earthship either. It's not impossible, but they're just not very frequent here. We also use plastic and glass bottles. As you can see, it's even considered art. It kind of looks like a beautiful chapel almost. Aluminum and steel cans. And then from the Taos Pueblo Native Americans, we've learned a lot about mud and straw plaster. So that's how we do our interior finishes. Reclaimed wood, something you'll see in Mike's older buildings, and scrap metal. So we'll even cut metal off of old cars at the dump or old washing machines, and we'll make really cool shingles for the roof. And it's really beautiful. The next is passive heating and cooling. So all Earthships are outfitted with a greenhouse. Okay, so as you can see on the right-hand side of that picture, that is a greenhouse. So all of our Earthships in the Northern Hemisphere face south, and all of our Earthships in the Southern Hemisphere face north. So we get that passive solar gain. The sun comes out, warms up the greenhouse, and ultimately heats our homes. And also this comes back to the beauty of that rammed earth tire walls. So the rammed earth tires that we use as our foundation actually act as like a heat battery. So when it's really hot within the building from the solar gain in the greenhouse, those tires end up getting charged with thermal mass. And so in the evenings when it gets cold, and it's colder in the living space, it will actually pull heat convectively out of the walls where the heat was stored. So regardless of how cold it is, even if it's well below 30 degrees outside, our buildings stay at like a nice 68 degrees without any supplemental heat. And then, pardon me, speaking of heat, I'm very hot here now. I have never been warmer in a building in my whole life, having moved here from Canada and Chicago. No complaints. And then also for cooling, we have a really cool convective mechanism where if you can see at the very right top hand part of the picture in this slide, there's a window at the top of the greenhouse. So if it's really hot and you need air conditioning in your Earthship, you would pop open that hopper window to allow the hot air to release and come upward out of that window. At the same time, there are cooling tubes that are installed along the back wall of an Earthship. So I would say, the way I would describe it is like the south side of the building, you have your greenhouse. And then the north side of the building is your rammed earth tire foundation. And behind it, it's infilled with earth. So it kind of looks like a partially buried home. Now, before you do your infill, you end up having, they install a 12-inch diameter galvanized steel tube that goes through that berm, through that buried portion, and through the tire wall. So once you pop open your greenhouse window, you open the door to your cooling tube. So as the hot air escapes through the top of that window, it pulls cool air. That's the temperature of the earth around 57 degrees Fahrenheit. And it brings cool air into your living structure. So it's like natural air conditioning. And it works really well because with convection, the hotter the temperature differential, the hotter it is outside, the faster it would pull in this cool air. So that's how we heat and cool our buildings. And some of them, of course, require some supplemental, wood burning stove. I live in an old Earthship that was built in '93, so it doesn't have the cooling tubes, which makes our summers a little bit more challenging. But, it's kind of old school before they got really, really good. And there we have a wood burning stove for just our coldest nights when it's like, if it's below 10 degrees then Fahrenheit, then we'll end up making a fire. So the next point is solar and wind electricity. So with Taos having more than 300 days a year of sun, we find that solar panels are really effective for us. I'm also, I prefer solar panels because with wind turbines, when you have a mechanism in motion, it's more prone to needing repairs and getting broken. So I'm a big advocate for solar panels, especially if it's on a tracking system. And a conventional home, the majority of the electricity used in a conventional home is for heating and cooling your building. So maintaining that comfortable, because in an Earthship, you're not spending any electrical output for heating or cooling your home. You don't need so much power. So solar and wind electricity generates enough for us to do anything that we need. Of course, in an off-grid solar system or electrical system, you want to avoid things like a rice cooker or a slow cooker, hair dryer, anything that's going to use electricity to convert to heat or cool. That's more challenging. Most of our refrigerators are DC, so that's fed right from our batteries easily, or a lot of us even have propane. I have a propane refrigerator, propane stove kind of thing. So my only bill for my house personally is the propane bill, and we pay around $600 a year. Of course, we also have like internet. We have really crappy, expensive internet because I live really far out there in the boonies. But other than that, those are our only house bills. And then for water harvesting, all of our water is intended to come from the sky. So it is collected on our metal roofs and it goes down into a cistern. And you can see the picture of the cistern on the top right-hand portion of the screen. So the top right-hand picture is of a cistern, and the cistern is nice and rigid. It's not perfectly flat because it's buried in that berm. So the picture that has the two circular roofs that's right underneath the text, those are cisterns, and they get buried on the north side of the house within the berm, which means that you want nice rigid cisterns so it doesn't collapse against the weight of the earth surrounding it. So we harvest that rainwater and it sits in the cistern, and then it goes through a filtration, like a water organizing module is what we call it, before it goes into our home. So here you can even see that the average Earthship only uses 370 gallons for a family of 4. This has got to be probably, let me think, it's got to be maybe, is this annual? I don't know. I'm not sure if this graphic is, it must be annual, because 1,700 would be really, really crazy to use within a month. So that would be for a family of 4 annually. What else was I going to say about the water organizing module? It goes through a series of filters before it goes into our faucets. And then it goes through a final filter, a ceramic filter, before it goes to our drinking water faucets, which are separate from regular faucets. And we normally find this method very effective, even though it's really, really dry here. Our cisterns are normally full. However, every 10 years, we have a really terrible drought period, and we're in the middle of one right now. So unfortunately for like student housing or our nightly rentals, we have been needing to get some water deliveries. So once the water is in the cistern, we use it 4 times before it's considered junk or black water. So you'd use your water by taking a shower, washing your hands, and then that water drains into the first reception cell. So that would be within your greenhouse of your Earthship. So not only does it feed the roots of your plants, but it also gets filtered a little bit. It can go through a salad bar, another cell, etc. And then once it goes through the greenhouse planters and these various cells, and as you can see, the cells go deeper and deeper as it goes along, and that's specific to the design, so that water goes from high to low naturally. And then that gray water from the planter is filtered through an additional pump and filter, and then goes into the toilet tank. So we never flush our toilets with clean drinking water. The water has already been used twice. And then once it goes through from the toilet, that's the third use. It then goes into an evapotranspiration bed outside. So that really helps us here in the Mesa slowly start to make soil, and people will plant trees there. And that's one of the more moist areas that you'll find here, because this is considered the high desert. And then our last point is food production. So with the greenhouse, that helps heat our house and cool our house, and helps us filter our water so we can use it for in multiple ways. It's also for food production. And this is the most challenging aspect of Earthship living, and in my opinion, because as you create the perfect environment for growing these amazing vegetables, you can see papayas on your left-hand side from our Simple Survival. You've got cucumbers in our visitor center. I'm pretty sure the third picture is tomatoes and kale from the Phoenix. And then the last picture is just a harvest. So when you're producing this perfect environment to get these amazing things growing, bananas, we actually harvest bananas, we get figs, that kind of thing. You're also creating the perfect environment for pests. So normally if people who live in an Earthship probably are still working, so that's where it falters for them the most, is pest management, keeping up with greenhouse stuff. That's the hardest aspect. It's the most labor intensive, in my opinion. So those are the 6 main principles of Earthships. Thank you for bearing with me through it. I just wanted to give you a good background. I work in the Academy department, so I'm going to be specifically presenting to you about our Earthship Academy. And we have academies. We have 5 sessions that are happening this year. Actually, a 6th, because we just had a last-minute academy session we've started for May. And then we have some internationally as well. And so, Earthship Biotecture Academy offers extensive training in Earthship principles, construction methods, philosophy. We have classes, labs, tours, hands-on construction techniques. It's a very intensive course where the first half of the day you're in class learning the theory, doing labs, doing your water organizing module, and you're learning how to wire your solar panels and your batteries. The second half of the day, you're on site building alongside crew. So for this Earthship Academy, it's a 4-week-long program. You have weekends off. You get a textbook so that you can read up before classes that will guide you through all of the specific Earthship concepts. And there's an exam at the end. So it's a pretty serious and intensive course, and the cost is $2,500. So as I said, it's a very hands-on learning experience. We have instructors, electricians, plumbers, people who have been building Earthships for many, many years, who are there to guide students and give you guys a bit more confidence. We have not only labs, but one of the first classes our students have is tool time. So we teach our students how to, you don't have to have a background in construction to do this course. We'll teach you guys how to use the tools safely and effectively. So as I mentioned before, there are 5 or 6 sessions of the Earthship Academy happening this year in Taos, New Mexico, but it's not the only place where we have academies. We have had global academies, so in Argentina, in Easter Island, in El Bolson, in Uruguay. Haiti was a recent one. We have a really sweet Earthship compound in Puerto Rico that we've done several hits on. So you're not limited to just the United States for Earthship Academy. That being said, with COVID, we have definitely decreased our international builds. It's just really hard to stay on top of it with COVID rates and people traveling and all of that. So in order to fully graduate from the Earthship program, you have to do an academy session, a field study, and an independent study. So the academy session is the class time and on the job site. A field study is a 4-week-long program where you're building an Earthship from the ground up. So by the end of the 4 weeks, with that large group of people, you'll have a shell and system. So you have your tire wall pounded, your cooling tubes installed, the roof on, the greenhouse is in, your glass is in, and maybe some of your floors are poured, and the majority of your systems are set up and ready to go. So after that month, normally we will do it for a client. So we have a field study happening in Montana in July. Last year, my husband is a foreman, so he was in charge of a field study in Nathrop, Colorado at 11,000 feet elevation. That was probably one of the highest elevation builds that they've ever done. And so it's just very hands-on. It's very intensive. There's like one Q&A session, but it's really all about building up the skills of those first few operations of getting your structure en masse built. After those 4 weeks, the clients are responsible for doing their own finish work. So they're finish mud on their walls, installing your countertops and kitchen and all of that stuff. The last piece of Earthship Academy graduation is an independent study. And that is non-specific to any particular project. It's really about what inspires the student themselves. It's a wide range from building your own Earthship to building something that resembles an Earthship to we had a student create and mass market like a little model Earthship, like that you can build with paper and like fold it. And so that was considered an independent study. So you can complete and receive one of our sweet little certification diplomas by completing each of the 3 steps. That being said, you don't have to complete each of the 3 steps to build an Earthship, but you have to complete each of the 3 steps if you would like to call it an Earthship. Otherwise, if you're not fully certified, you have to call it Earthship Inspired. So not a big deal. It's just a copyright thing. Another course and program that we have created, especially in response to COVID, is our Earthship Online Academy. So for those who cannot travel to meet us here in Taos or internationally on another academy program, you can learn all of the theory from your home comfortably. The way that it is set up is that if you spent 3 hours every weekday on your coursework, at your leisure, on your own schedule, it would take you a month to complete. But because we understand that people have jobs, other school obligations, each online academy program is 3 months long. So there's a session from January to March, April to June, July to September, October to December. The cost is cheaper. It's only $1,000 since you're not here on site with us. And this is one of the ways which you can participate in graduation as well. So you would have to do your online academy, and then afterwards you would have to do 2 field studies. 2 separate 1-month-long bouts of in the field, pounding those tires, learning the physical aspect. And it's pretty effective because you learn all of your theory first, and then you go out there, whether it's Montana or Colorado or any other build, and you are kind of understand the process, and then you have your practice. This year, we were able to develop and implement a community outreach scholarship. For this scholarship, it would be the students who have received it have full tuition paid and housing accommodations for shared housing. They would just have to make it here. And so what we're looking for are people who can really empower their community. It's hard to, I cannot with confidence say that once you complete one Earthship Academy session that you will know fully how to build an Earthship. It takes a lot of practice, and also to build an Earthship, you cannot do it on your own. You need a vast community support. So what we're looking for is someone who is incredibly connected to their community. They're volunteering with nonprofits. They are housing activists or part of builders unions, or organizing their community in low-income areas. It's incredibly helpful also if they happen to be from a region that has less building bylaws, because that makes the likelihood of them building an Earthship even greater. And we're encouraging people of color to apply. And the application for that is on our website. But ultimately, it's people who can effectively empower their community, take the experience, whether they've had building experience before or will be learning it in the course, and just spread the concept and then empower their own communities. We're not going to tell them how to live their lives. They're meant to take the knowledge and then spread it and allow their communities to become less dependent on local governments that they feel are not providing for them. So that is all for the Earthship Academy program itself. Separately, we also have an Earthship internship. This is a 3-week-long program. It's much cheaper. It's only $150 for an internship administrative fee, and then interns have to pay for their own housing if they don't have accommodations here in Taos already. All internships are here in Taos. Internships do not they don't go towards graduation. They are an opportunity for interns to come and work alongside crew at whichever stage of building they happen to be in at that time. So by the end of the internship, through repetition and showing up every day and putting in the work, our interns will learn a valuable skill, whether it's pounding tires, how to do proper masonry with cans, plastering, tile work, for example. Some interns have learned how to tile in our internship program and then continue to use that professionally because tile work is highly valued in the construction industry. So that is the end of my presentation for all of our coursework. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys may have. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I hope that wasn't too fast for anyone.
No, that was perfect. And I know we like I thought would happen, we do have some people that kind of popped in after work. And so for those of you that just came in, she gave a brief history at the beginning about Earthships, and then she really went into specifics about the academy. And so guys, we're pretty chill here. So if you want to unmute, you can ask Polina anything you have on your mind.
I have a question for Candy. So do you have one scholarship?
So when she was mentioning the scholarships, that's their thing. The one that the one that Green Hope Project is doing, we have one. So it'll be an essay contest, and the details of the essay will roll out in May. So if you haven't subscribed to our newsletter, I would definitely do that, because that's the first people that are going to hear about the contest details. So go to greenhopeproject.org. subscribe to the newsletter. If you're interested in that essay contest, it'll roll out in May. And we will pay for the academy. In regard to getting yourself there, you'll have to pay for that. Polina, you said that the housing, they could stay in the community or they could stay a little bit outside in Taos if they wanted, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. We have different price points, whether it's shared housing or private housing or double private here. But our scholarship, which is called the Community Outreach Scholarship, we have one per Earthship session. So we have scholarship recipients for the April Academy, an amazing young woman who's here right now. And then June and July have also been awarded. So we have not awarded scholarships for September or October yet. We're filtering through a lot of really, really cool applications, though, that being said.
And so they just, if they want to do the scholarships with you, I know we have the essay contest, we'll send one person, but for you guys, they just go to the link that you put in the chat?
Yep. So check out our website, earthshipbiotecture.com. And then you can, I might even quickly put in the link for the scholarship itself. It's a forum and you would write your information and then we would get back to you with the application questions. And then we announce the scholarship recipients 2 months before their session of choice. And that scholarship does include full tuition and shared housing. And it's pretty awesome. Our scholarship applicants are just incredible, incredible people.
Polina, I had a question.
Sure.
On the internships, is there any way to gauge an approximate cost for housing?
Yes, absolutely. So for shared housing, it's $500 for the 3 weeks. For private, it's $600. And for double private, so if you came with a friend or as a couple, that would be $900.
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'm going to try to pull up that scholarship application as well. If anybody has any further questions, I'm all ears.
Is there an age limit for the academy?
So it has to be over 18 unless there's a parent present. We can do under 21, but there is a waiver that a legal guardian has to sign. And that's simply because we can't control drinking, but we don't want to get shut down for underage drinking. We also, we want the younger, we used to have a youth academy that was 16 to 21-year-olds, and it was 1 month in the summer, but it had to get canceled due to COVID and just everything got really, really complicated. But yes, it's not an age requirement. There's no specific age requirement.
But typically it's 21 or older.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just to be aware, so sometimes there's foul language on the job site when someone accidentally hammers a thumb or something.
And then with the housing, when they do stay in the community, is it just is it one of the ones that has the name, how you name all your Earthships, or is it specifically for the academy?
So it is specifically for the academy. It's ultimately the older buildings that are no longer used as office spaces or as housing, nightly rental housing. So those older buildings are normally where our students stay, which is really cool for our students because they get to see what Earthships were like before they are what they are today. So you get to see the little imperfections, like, oh, okay, they stopped doing pitched roofs. They used to have a roof that would come up like this and then down a little bit and then back up. And when it would go down, it just would have a really horrible leak, especially in the wintertime. So now we've learned from that mistake, because I find that Earthships are all about constant troubleshooting, constantly evolving and making the design better.
Can you show everybody who just came into the meeting the view you have right now? Because you're in Taos and
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And that inside where you are, is that a banana tree?
Yeah, that's a banana tree. So I'm in the inner space of an Earthship. And for those of you that might be confused about cooling tubes, I can show that to you right now as well. Let me pop a light on. If you guys don't mind doing a little Earthship tour.
No, I love it.
So this is not a residential Earthship. This is just an office. And so say it's really hot outside and I want to cool off the building. Let me angle this down. This is the cooling tube that's been buried in between the tire wall and between a few of the courses of tires. And I would pop that open and feel cold air coming in from outside, from the berm. We've got nice mesh in there, so no rodents get any fun ideas. And also the cooling tubes are installed at a slight angle away from the building so that in the event of any condensation, there's no leakage in the house. So right now I'm in the inner space. And as I walk backwards through this door, hopefully not embarrassingly, this is the greenhouse area. So we have a banana tree here that has yet to fruit. This is a fig tree that fruits annually. And those are the planters. So the water that comes out of our sinks and shower in here filters into the base of this planter.
You have to make sure you're using like products that don't harm the plants.
Yes.
Soap.
Just pretty much no bleach. We do a lot of Mrs. Myers.
Okay.
So another thing is I can show you how the hopper skylights operate.
Wow.
Yeah, so these ropes are a common feature that you'll see in Earthships. So say it's really, really hot in here. It's blasting sunlight into the greenhouse space. I'm getting real hot. I'm going to open up that cooling tube I just showed you. And then I'm going to pull on these strings, these ropes, which have been held in by these latches that are used in sailboats. And it opens up the hopper window. So this hopper window allows the heat from the greenhouse to escape and rises upwards. There it is.
Yay.
Yeah, there you are. And then it thereby pulling the cool air from that cooling tube. So it's the natural air conditioning method. No electrical bills.
Wow.
I'm just going to close it real quick.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, and you can see you guys are using wine bottles in the wall. Is that what that decorative stuff was?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So what we do is we take our favorite bottles, whatever colors we want, and we'll cut it using a tile saw 4 inches away from the butt of the bottle.
Mm-hmm.
So it creates like a cup. And you put 2 of those butts together, tape around it. With any tape is fine. And it creates a bottle brick. And we have found that it's best to do one of the butts in clear glass and the other one in color. So it allows more light through and you can see the color more vividly.
So if somebody did go to the academy for the 4 weeks, what are they to expect? Like, is it like broken down week by week? Week 1, we talk about the tools. Week 2, we do classroom stuff. Week 3, we do...
It's really day by day. So you start off on your first day at orientation. You learn where your job site is and, you know, the rules that we have here as well, and how to be respectful of everyone, with like a quick lunch as well. And then the second day is tool time. So you go right to the job site and you learn tool safety. And then every day after that is the schedule is the same in the sense that the first half of the day you're in class and the second half of the day you're on the job site building, but the days vary. One day you're going to be learning about, okay, just the introduction of Earthships. Another day you're going to be learning about the different Earthship designs. Then you're going to go on to the plumbing system. So seeing how the water organizing module works. You'll even have a lab with our plumber where he makes you build one. So we have little kits that our students like pair up and have to put together. There's a class with our electrician who shows you how to wire your batteries and understand what kind of solar panels you want to be working with. And ultimately you have an exam at the end. So you're going to want to be paying attention to the different kinds of Earthships. They're going to ask you to draw the water organizing module and wiring. And there's even classes about the flaws of Earthships because, you know, they're not perfect buildings. We're constantly evolving. We're constantly tweaking and doing little changes. What was the other one that was really fascinating in my opinion? There's a class on plants, which is pretty awesome. Then you learn a little bit about greenhouse maintenance and companion planting. mushroom growing, and it's pretty awesome. And then there's even a class on organizing your own build for a field study. So, a lot of our students will complete the academy and then they'll say, hey, I have a piece of land and the bylaws of my area are conducive to Earthships, so I would like to host a field study. So other students will sign up for this field study. They pay around $500 to participate, and they help the process of building, because it really does take an army to pound the tires. Those first few steps of Earthship building are intense. That's the hardest part of the building process.
So you having the land and, allowing people to come help with that build, right? So the academy people are getting the experience of the build, and then you're getting the help of them, putting it on the land. Do you, as the landowner, have to pay to have that field study done with them, or no?
You will, because you're paying for crew.
Got it.
So there's a professional, crew that goes there to essentially direct the students who are building. So there is a price point for it. And then of course you're responsible for your own materials.
Okay.
And, the amount of recycled materials that you can use is sometimes varied based on where you are.
Well, we have a question in the chat from Alejandra. Hello, I am interested in learning about advocating for Earthship construction as an accepted building standard by our local government. Can you provide any resources or reading materials on how we can begin that advocacy work? How someone else did it? A cheat sheet, perhaps?
So I'm really glad I kind of lost the Zoom, and so I just had 5 people's square heads. So now that I see the question, yes. So actually, the link above it says Garbage Warrior Coco, but I was trying to say Doco. It's a documentary about Michael Reynolds going through the legal process of making Earthships like a viable building technique here in New Mexico. And so we now, just after Mike jumped through all of these hoops, we just have some paperwork that we have to fill in when we're going through the permitting process, saying that we're going to be building with tires. We have to get our tire permit, and then some inspectors come and make sure that we have the appropriate amount of tires. They're actually very specific here. You have to have the exact amount of tires that you need. You cannot have more, and you have to tell them the exact number. It's kind of crazy. So I would recommend starting by watching that documentary, because it even shows like Mike going to court, and it shows the lawyer that was representing him. Ultimately, I would look into Taos County bylaws as well. We're just an okay example of what you can do.
So you think even within Texas, I know there are some Earthships built in Texas, the building codes will vary county by county, correct?
Exactly, yeah. So Mike calls these areas in the United States pockets of freedom, where there's these counties where there's just minimal bylaws, and that is the perfect place to build an Earthship. The more urban and populated area you live in, the harder it is, because then there's more people and more rules created because of rules that were broken, or people who made mistakes or whatever in the past. So my hope, like especially through our scholarship program, we've been contacting a lot of HBCUs, historically Black colleges and universities, and especially in rural areas like Tuskegee, not rural, but those southern states where there is less written code bylaw. That's a really kind of exciting, undiscovered potential Earthship like building area.
What would you say to somebody who said, oh, I'm too old to do this academy, or I'm too young to do the academy?
Well, actually, the academy is not limited to anyone by age. We accept everyone regardless of their age, gender, background, anything. I would say in every single academy, we have multiple people who are in their 60s or older. So it's a really conducive program, and no one's going to push you to do something that you feel you're not capable of on the job site. No one's going to make you feel uncomfortable. So we work within everyone's capabilities. And also, if the physical labor seems a bit intimidating, there's always the online academy to kind of get that grasp beforehand. because part of it is perhaps you don't think that you will build your own Earthship, but you would like to live in one. Whether it's purchasing one that has already been built or hosting a field study, so having crew and students come and build your Earthship, it's important to do the academy so that you understand how your building functions and operates, because it's a constant assessment of your environment around you. Oh my gosh, it's really hot. I better open up my hoppers and open up my cooling tubes. Okay, it's really cold. I better close the cooling tube and all the windows, and I'm going to close the interior greenhouse door. Okay, it's a drought. I'm going to be filling up my cisterns. And there's regular yearly maintenance. I find that in conventional houses, when things go wrong, you have to call a repairman or a technician to come and do something about it. Here, you're kind of on your own. So you have to learn how your systems are going to work. You know, you're filling up your batteries with distilled water 4 times a year and checking that level. You are adjusting the angle of your solar panels based on the solstice, like the winter and the summer. So constant troubleshooting.
Got it. Did anybody else have questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay. I had a question regarding the 4-week Earthship course. I was wondering if you can accommodate parents with children. I don't know.
So we do have double private housing. There's a few units that would be appropriate for that, as on a first come, first serve basis. And it really depends on how big your family is. I have a 2-year-old as well. So, you know,
Yeah,
we
3.5.
yeah, nice. Mine will be 3 in June, and it's a trip. But the one thing you might want to consider is that these are off-grid systems. So you have to be aware of your water usage, your electrical usage. You know, on our solar systems, as I said before, you can't be using like a hair dryer, heated blanket, those kinds of things. So within our student housing, it's like, it meets your electrical needs in terms of, you know, there's Wi-Fi, you're charging your phone and your battery. If you have a really nice, efficient blender, like that's not a bad thing to have, but you can't have those big industrial, like I don't even know what they're called because I can't remember the last time I used one. You know, no microwave. What else do I kind of miss? Oh, coffee maker. I don't have a coffee maker. We do like drip cups or French press or Italian press or something. So yes, it's not impossible, but we don't have childcare. So that is something to consider. But we have had couples here that have come with children. Since I have been here, I haven't had any couples stay on our property with children. They probably because they want to have all of the water and electrical needs for those comforts, they would find an Airbnb in town or something along those lines. But yes, that's not a reason to not come.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And they don't have to stay on the Earthship community to participate in the academy.
Correct. That's right. Yep.
I have a related question. Do you have an area designated for like you know, trailers, you know, for people that are doing internships?
So because you guys are going to love this one. The Greater World Earthship community has an HOA. It's really cheap. It's like $175 a year. It's mainly for maintaining our Mesa roads. But because of that HOA, they do not allow camping on the property. So there are other areas near us where you could have a trailer or an RV park. There's several places, but not on the Earthship property itself.
And are they actually near or nearby, you know, New Mexico standards, Texas standards? Are they close?
Nearby New Mexico, Texas standards.
Okay, right.
You know, like the heart of Taos where the grocery stores are and all of that, that's about a 15-minute drive away from here.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
No.
Cool. Thank you.
It wasn't too far from, I mean, where the city was. It was nice.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a long drive for me because I don't live in the community. I live still on this side of the gorge, but further south in the Carson National Forest in an Earthship. So my commute to drop my kid off at daycare is 45 minutes to 50 minutes. And then it's a 15-minute drive to work, like backtracking. So yeah, by the end of the day is I'm like, okay, let's build a bigger house that's closer to the town, please. Yeah.
Okay, so we still have more time. You got any more burning questions?
Can I just give a commercial for something I'm doing tomorrow?
Yeah.
Related?
Yeah.
So if you're not quite ready to move into an Earthship yet, but you want to make some little changes, I'm going to be doing a solar cooking presentation. So it's just a way to get off the grid a little bit more at your home and just start learning. So we'll just be doing some things from what I did in my backyard.
That's really cool. There's a solar oven here next to one of our student housing buildings. And when I was in academy, someone cooked a turkey in there. It took 8 hours on a super hot, sunny day, but it worked. It was really cool. It's a great dehydrator.
Yeah. We're making bread. We're doing all sorts of things. Yeah.
Cindy, are you going to cook a turkey tomorrow?
No, I'm not. I'm actually on Sunday. I'm going to, it's going to be 90 degrees. I'm going to do lentils.
Wow.
Cool. That's
The closer
awesome.
it gets to 100, the faster I can do things. But yeah, I'll just do lentils are fast. So I'll just
Nice. Oh, yeah, I'm definitely tuning into that one. That good. Tomorrow, hers is at 9 a.m. So register if you haven't already, guys.
Nice.
Polina, I did want to ask when people, I know this probably fluctuates, but what is the average class size for the academy?
About 30 people.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And it does fluctuate. So we were going to have a academy in Puerto Rico for the month of May that had 40 students, but it got canceled due to COVID, and it's a last minute cancellation, and everyone's really upset about it. All of our crew had tickets booked already. So now we're doing a last minute Earthship Academy. For May, we have a sale of $100 off of tuition, just like a flash sale. And it looks like for that one, since it's so last minute, we're going to have about 10 to 15 people for May for the academy.
Do you find that the cohort that is together for the academy, do people get kind of bonded? It's kind of a crazy.
So close. Yeah, they love you. We have a really great set. This is our first session. This April session is our first one of the year, and they love each other. And this is also my first scholarship recipient. This really amazing woman from Tuskegee who's getting her PhD and, is an advocate for her community. She's just amazing. So I'm getting a question here from Lisette. The scholarship is for one person. So if we have kids plus husband, do we just have to pay the difference? So yes. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what they mean by if the kids will be attending the Earthship Academy.
If they need to bring their family, but they're the only one attending the academy, they just pay the academy fee, but they pay the housing fee for their family, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah. And if you don't receive a scholarship, but you would like to come as a pair, there is a discount. I believe it's a 10% off discount for tuition for both people.
So what if husband wants to come just to watch the kids during the day, but wife wants to go to the academy?
Yeah, that would be just wife is paying tuition, and she's responsible for that. And husband is, doesn't have to pay to be there. It's just, you pay for your housing and you just pay for tuition for the person actually attending the classes.
Got it. I don't know. Does that answer the question, Lizette? I think that's what she meant. Yes, thank you. And then, so just one more time, they do have their own separate scholarships. You can go to apply. What was the website?
Let's see. I think here it is. Earthshipbiotecture.com/scholarship. And so it's a forum. Sorry?
I was saying that's specifically with the Earthship people, not.
Yes. So this is for us, and we give one scholarship per Earthship Academy session. This year we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plus the so five sessions that we are giving scholarships for, and September and October we have yet to choose the scholarship recipient, so that's still open for enrollment. So it would be a form that you quickly fill in. The email gets sent to me directly, essentially from the forum, and then I would respond with the questions of the scholarship application, and then you would just send it back to us.
So if you want to apply for the Green Hope Project scholarship, we will pay for the full amount of the academy, but you do have to get yourself there. We can, I don't know, maybe discuss the housing, or, I don't know, I'm sure that there's some options I think Lauren had mentioned, but you do have to get yourself there. And so the way you do that is you sign up for our newsletter at greenhopeproject.org, and then just hang tight. At the beginning of May, we're going to roll out the essay contest, and all you have to write an essay just saying why you think you should be the one chosen to go from El Paso. We're going to choose the best one out of those. And really all you have to do in return is document the process so that we can live vicariously through you and just be like, oh my God, I wish I was them. Send more pictures, send more video, give us more blogs or something. And then when you come back, maybe give 1 or 2 presentations to the community about what you learned, and, maybe do a slideshow or something. And that's all we ask in return.
That's so awesome. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting because it's kind of similar to my scholarship program as well, where I ask each of the scholarship recipients to complete a final project. So the woman that received the scholarship for this month, her name is Candace Clark. Interesting. And she's doing an Instagram story, a series of her experiences here. Yeah. So if anyone's interested, it's I think I'll type in her Instagram into our chat if you guys just want to kind of follow her journey, because she's really amazing. I totally have a friend crush on her. So she's Cando, EAU, Français, the farm plug. She's a young woman from Chicago, and she's got it all. Beauty and brains.
So for those of you that are watching this later, you didn't attend in person, it's at KANDEAUX_THE_farm_plug. So you can follow that. Well, do you guys have any more questions?
So I have one here. So sorry if I did not hear this, but when is the start date for the academy? So the answer to that question is that we have several sessions. So our first session started in April. That was April 5th to the 30th. It just goes along the 4 weeks starting Monday. Our next session is starting May 3rd. And then we have one in June, July, September, and October. So we put on several academy sessions a year.
So some of those teachers that know they have that summer break, hey.
It gets hot here, so be prepared. And it's high elevation. We're at 7,000 feet, so it's a trip. I thought I was really fit when I moved here, but then I realized I got winded going up the stairs.
And guys, if you're like, okay, I don't know if I can do the academy, or I'm kind of interested, you can stay in the Earthship community, and you can do like an Airbnb just to see if it's like something you're even kind of interested in.
Mm-hmm. I am going to respond here because Christopher asked, Candace, can you post that link that you just spelled out? So I'm writing that it's an Instagram account, and that's the handle for it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And that's to follow that girl that you have a friend crush on.
Yeah, that's my first scholarship recipient. We have some really, really amazing people. And in July, we have a really amazing man who is starting, he wants to build an African cultural center in Olympia, Washington, because he was saying that his community, he felt that that Black people of his community did not have a lot of knowledge, or were not as open to sustainability and living off grid. So that's kind of, for him, it was a way of encouraging his community, giving them that information, showing them what's available to them, and also kind of reaching his roots, because he ended up going back to Africa where his family was from, and finally reconnecting with a part of him that he felt he had been very disconnected with. So it was very
So cool. Oh man,
I can't wait to give you free tuition.
you meet so many cool people, huh?
Yeah, really, really amazing.
I'm hoping that there's going to be one day where I reach out to you and I say, hey, I got a county that's letting me build, and we're going to do a Green Hope project, and it's going to be like a center, and we can have tours for kids, and hopefully.
Absolutely. Have them help you pick the tomatoes in the pineapple stage.
Yes. So much that can be done. Even a sculpture garden outside and incorporate the arts. Yes. So yeah, thank you guys for coming. Unless you have any more questions. And I'm sure if they think of something later, they can email you, correct?
Yeah, I'm going to post my email here real quick again. Polina at earthshipacademy.com. It's such a long email that I'm hoping I didn't misspell anything. I think that looks good. So yeah, feel free to email me with any questions you guys have, any questions about our scholarship program, and we'd be thrilled to have you.
Cool.
There needs to be more of us.
You're awesome. Thank you, Polina.
Yeah, my pleasure. You guys all have a really great weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you, Polina.
Bye, everyone.